9 of Canada's premiers signed a landmark deal this week that will allow their provinces to bypass old interprovincial trade barriers and enable direct-to-consumer alcohol sales. Now, this is just one of the many steps taken to bolster the domestic economy amid an ongoing trade war with the United States. Joining us now to unpack this latest agreement and what it means for Canadians and businesses is Ryan Manucha. He's a research fellow at the Howe Institute. Thanks so much for joining us today, Ryan.
Thanks so much for having me.
Firstly, tell us about the significance of this deal. How impactful will it be for businesses? And how exactly does it help fight off the economic damage caused by the U.S. trade war?
Direct to consumer for alcohol has been something that folks like Dan Pazowski and the Canadian Wine Growers Association and Dan Albus have been asking for decades. In this modern era of one-click Amazon shopping directly to your doorstep, it's finally catching up the sale of alcohol to consumers in a way that we all kind of understand. So what this really enables is deeper, more competitive domestic markets. It allows domestic consumers who want to buy Canadian, who want to consume their favorite Okanagan wine or Alberta whiskey to do so. Right now, it was much easier to purchase foreign alcohol from your local LCBO or whatever your equivalent is in your province. And we're talking, if we just divert 5% of purchases that were going internationally to a domestic source, we're talking about $500 million more domestic alcohol purchasing.
Okay, and even with these legal barriers removed, what are some logistical and even financial challenges smaller businesses like the wineries, breweries, and distilleries expected to face when trying to ship out of province?
So this agreement is pan-Canadian, but it's going to operationalize differently in different provinces. For example, if you're a BC winery, you're still going to have to go get registered with the LCBO. Some provinces, like New Brunswick, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba, don't have this authorization requirement for out-of-province producers. So that's great. But some other provinces do have that sort of a registration requirement. So just we'll see how that unfolds over the coming weeks and months. Hopefully it's not too arduous. But we're also talking about other internal trade barriers intersect with this. So, we've resolved direct to consumer, and then you think about the barriers on interprovincial trucking. And that is a part and parcel with the movement of goods from a producer to a consumer in another province. So it's all coming together, but direct to consumer was a massive landmark victory for internal trade.
Okay, shifting to the consumers now, what is the first change everyday Canadians will actually notice with this deal in effect?
Finally, consumers are going to be able to purchase their alcohol like the way they purchase everything else, direct to consumer to their doorstep. And they have the bounty and the abundance and the innovation that comes from elsewhere in Canada available now to them and not whatever was available at their storefront LCBO or equivalent in another province. So for consumers, this is a massive win, massive victory.
Let's talk about the province that opted out. Quebec opted out of this agreement. Why did it choose to stay behind, and what does it mean for consumers there?
It is too bad. Quebec opted out. Wasn't part of it, and then two other territories weren't part of the original agreement. But Quebec, being as large a province as it is, as large a purchaser of alcohol as it is too bad that they're not part of a pan-Canadian solution. Quebec, in addition to other provinces, are all grappling with some of the same issues, including how to ensure they don't have any seepage and loss of important revenue and tax revenue through the purchase of alcohol from outside their borders. And this was a big thing that was blocking direct to consumer. Provinces reap tens of millions, hundreds of millions, even billions of dollars in tax revenue that was going towards paying for schools and hospitals. So many governments were very, wisely sort of cognizant. How am I going to do the same social services that we're expected to do if alcohol revenue is not where we thought it was? So perhaps Quebec will watch and see that the sky does not fall out for the other provinces who do go on board with this direct-to-consumer program.
All right, and finally, with these major alcohol sales barriers for 9 provinces for now removed, what are other interprovincial trade walls, like agriculture perhaps, are next in line?
Well, if you think about what this means for domestic producers, the whole farming value chain that goes to creating alcohol is going to be positively impacted with this liberalization. So it all intersects. But this was a big win. There's so much more from labor mobility to electrical codes to construction codes, but this was a big win in the march forward to a deeper competitive domestic marketplace.
All right, Ryan, thanks so much for your time and insight today.
Thank you.
That is Ryan Manucha, a research fellow with Howe Institute.